It's time to predict the entire 2022 NBA playoffs. It's win or go home. I'm going to go through each series in the Western and Eastern conferences and tell you who's going to win, how many games it's going to take for them to win, all the way through the NBA Finals. Let's get started. We have the number 1 seed Phoenix Suns taking on the New Orleans Pelicans, a team that came out of the play-in tournament. They defeated the Clippers last night, who were shorthanded without Paul George. But this is a different team with CJ McCollum. He's definitely added a different layer of offensive efficiency to this team, a reliable shot maker to absorb some of the pressure that Brandon Ingram receives defensively. But they're facing the title favorites in the Phoenix Suns, a team that set their franchise record in wins this year. Coming off of the heartbreak finals loss against the Milwaukee Bucks, there will not be a slip-up or upset here. I actually don't see the Pelicans winning a game. Give me the Suns in 4 games. We have the number 1 seed Miami Heat taking on the Atlanta Hawks, the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. They came out of the play-in tournament, 2 big-time performances against the Charlotte Hornets and a comeback win against the Cavaliers. They made a big run to the Eastern Conference Finals just last year, maybe slightly ahead of their curve in terms of their development, but Trae Young is a machine. He's setting records for the franchise individually this year, but this team has been a turnover machine. Their defense has not been that good, and they may be without Clint Capella for at least the majority of this series after he suffered an injury in the play-in tournament. So I actually have the Miami Heat with Kyle Lowry, with Tyler Hero. Don't forget about Max Strus. He's basically taken some of Duncan Robinson's playing time. He's going to be an effective role player in this series. Don't forget about Jimmy Butler, one of the Defensive Player of the Year candidates in Bam Adebayo. This team is ready to make a big run. I give the Hawks a game, but I'm taking Miami Heat in 5 games. Let's go back over to the Western Conference. This is going to be a bit controversial. Luka Doncic is hurt, but I think he's going to come back for either Games 2 or Games 3. He did suffer a calf strain in the final game of the regular season. What were the Mavericks thinking? Why was Luka Doncic even playing? My prediction in this series, though, is the Dallas Mavericks will defeat the Utah Jazz in 6 games. I really do believe even a 90% healthy, 80% healthy Luka Doncic will heavily tilt the favor of this series towards the Dallas Mavericks. They have an amazing defense. This is a Utah Jazz team that is not on the same page right now. They may be getting ready to break this team up. Donovan Mitchell may be headed out of the door this summer. We'll see how that goes. But when it comes to this series, too much defense. It's not Luka's fault. It's not the Mavericks' fault that they played Kawhi Leonard in his prime in his first 2 playoff series of his career. Give me the Mavericks in 6. A bit of an upset there, especially with the injury. Moving on to the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Toronto Raptors. My hometown Toronto Raptors, a bit of bias here. I think Nick Nurse is going to run circles around Doc Rivers when it comes to head coaching. We have a distinct coaching edge in this matchup. Gary Trent Jr., I believe, will be a household name after this series. Joel Embiid, of course, went for MVP this season, but James Harden has a questionable playoff history. This is a Raptors roster that flew under the radar. Their top 4 guys missed a combined 79 games. This is a team that could have easily been the first seed, actually, when you look at some of the offensive metrics, when Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby are all playing. This is a very, very dangerous team in the Raptors. I don't take the Philadelphia 76ers lightly, but, with Matisse Thybulle, one of their elite wing defenders, not being able to play any games in Toronto, it's a small factor, but I'm going to take the upset here as well. Toronto Raptors in 7 games. Let's go, everyone. Moving back towards the Golden State Warriors and the Denver Nuggets. Quick reminder, everyone, just before we continue, to hit like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Turn notifications on for more NBA predictions throughout the entire playoffs. Let's continue. We have the Golden State Warriors against the Denver Nuggets. Steph Curry suffers another injury going into the playoffs. His status was questionable heading into this series. It looks like he will play in a limited capacity against one of the MVP frontrunners in Nikola Jokic, who's having another monster season individually. The Denver Nuggets did win the season series against the Golden State Warriors, but the Warriors have had some injury problems this year. I do believe their roster is built for the playoffs. I don't think it will be easy here, but I've taken the Golden State Warriors to defeat the Denver Nuggets in 7 games. Let's move on to the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Chicago Bulls. This is the series that everyone is saying will be pretty much the easiest series of all in the first round. We have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who has a distinct matchup edge against the Chicago Bulls. They always crush the Bulls. This is a team in the Bulls that also fell off after the All-Star break. They were making everyone a lot of money, but they just couldn't win many important games against contending teams. It does not bode well for them over the course of this series, but I do believe the week off will help them win a game or two. I do believe they will be in a more prepared state. They do have shot makers, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. Their skill sets do translate to the playoffs. You need players that can create their own shot. You need big shot makers. So I've taken the Bucks to win this series, but I didn't take a sweep like a lot of people. I've taken the Bucks to win this series in 6 games. The Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Memphis Grizzlies. The Minnesota Timberwolves are, the new upstart team in the West, but I believe that they're in a situation that the Grizzlies were in last year, making the playoffs for the first time with their young core. They do have Patrick Beverley, a leader in the locker room, who's going to show them the ropes in the playoffs, but this is a Memphis Grizzlies team that's ready to flap their wings and fly away. Let's go. Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, they're going to have a huge series here. Jaren Jackson, I believe, has an edge offensively and defensively because of his size. Big series. They have the depth, record-breaking franchise, regular season for this franchise. The Memphis Grizzlies have all the intangibles. They do all the things that the numbers don't show: deflections, diving for loose balls, all of the things that translate to the playoffs. As long as they don't sustain any freak injuries, I see the Memphis Grizzlies defeating the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games. Now, moving on to what is surely to be the most discussed series of the first round, the Boston Celtics against the Brooklyn Nets, 2 title favorites. One of them has to go home in the first round. The Brooklyn Nets, they had the more difficult route to the playoffs coming out of the play-in tournament. They took care of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've been playing their best basketball of the season over the last week and a half to 2 weeks, but they're still without Ben Simmons to begin this series. This is a Boston Celtics team that leads the league in most defensive metrics. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown will be considered a championship contending duo during this playoff run, something I predicted on Twitter at the beginning of the season. Kevin Durant and Kyrie, I believe that there is a luck factor in the playoffs. I think they're going to have to look towards next season, continue to retool the roster, and try to come back with Ben Simmons, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant all on the same page. We are seeing reports that Ben Simmons may return for Game 4 in this series. He can change the complexion of the series, but I'm going to take the Boston Celtics, even without Robert Williams, to take these guys out in 6 games. You could say that this would be shocking fashion, okay? So Boston Celtics to get past the Nets, they're going to send them home in the first round. Moving back to the Eastern Conference, we have the Miami Heat versus the Toronto Raptors in the second round. Okay, I believe the Raptors match up very well with the Miami Heat. Okay, both teams have highly switchable defenders. Both teams are way above average shooting the 3 as well. But the Raptors, I believe that my team's run will end here. We will set the table for next season, maybe try to make some quality additions in the trade market or the free agency market this summer. But I do believe that this Miami Heat roster has built the team. This Miami Heat front office has built the team to compete in the playoffs. They will get past my Toronto Raptors. They'll catch fire. Kyle Lowry knows his old team. Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler. I believe in my Raptors team. I believe getting to the second round will be considered a massive success. Nick Nurse has done an amazing job with this roster. But I have the Miami Heat defeating the Toronto Raptors in 6 games. Okay, moving on to the Western Conference, big time series. I'm assuming that Luka Doncic will be fully healthy by this time. But the Dallas Mavericks, in my opinion, they still will not defeat the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns are on an absolute mission. I believe that once they get past the first round, the Pelicans, they will continue to play at a high level on both ends of the floor. Now, the Dallas Mavericks do have the superstar power of Luka Doncic if he is going to be near 100%. They do have an amazing defense. They have a strong home court advantage. I'll give them 2 games in this series. Give me the Phoenix Suns in 6 games. The Golden State Warriors versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Man, we have some amazing playoff series in the second round if these projections come through. The Golden State Warriors against the Memphis Grizzlies in the second round. Now, look, the Memphis Grizzlies, they're going to be extremely happy to get to the second round. They are on a mission. I believe they are the team of the future in the Western Conference. But the Golden State Warriors have been here. They have the star power with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, I believe, to make it to get past the Memphis Grizzlies. I believe the Golden State Warriors star power, the experience will shine in the second round. The Memphis Grizzlies, I believe they will win an NBA championship within the next 3 seasons. This is very, very possible, barring some catastrophic injuries. But this was a very successful year for them. I'm still going to ride with Steph Curry in that second round. A bit of an upset here, but I'm taking the Golden State Warriors to take out the Memphis Grizzlies in 6 games. Moving on, Boston Celtics versus the Milwaukee Bucks, the NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, I believe this is where their run is going to end. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, the Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart, they will get the best of this Milwaukee Bucks group. I don't think we're going to see that same magic in the second round that we saw from the role players in Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. A bit of a championship hangover here. Give me the Boston Celtics in 6 games, okay? So we have the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals set. The Phoenix Suns versus the Golden State Warriors, the Miami Heat versus the Boston Celtics. This should be top-notch basketball. Where do we begin? Let's begin with the East. The Miami Heat versus the Boston Celtics. Rematch from the bubble, the 7-game series in the bubble when the Miami Heat knocked off a younger Boston Celtics crew and went to the NBA Finals to lose against the LA Lakers. Fast forward, we have so much more experience, so much more development for Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. This is a Miami Heat team that is ready. They are built for this moment, especially when you consider what they've done in terms of three-point shooting this season. They have flamethrowers all over the court. Everyone. Gabe Vincent, Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, Caleb Martin, or is it the other Martin twin? Either way, the Miami Heat, they're going to compete against the Celtics, but I believe it's the Celtics' time to finally break through with this bunch. I'm betting on defense. Defense wins championships, right? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown absolutely explode, and they take out the Miami Heat in a hard-fought 7-game series. The Phoenix Suns against the Golden State Warriors, the series that everyone projected early in the season. I'm saying that it's going to happen. We will see the Suns versus the Warriors. Chris Paul versus Steph Curry. Big time basketball here. I still favor the Phoenix Suns, okay? I still favor the Phoenix Suns against the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors will come into this series with the most confidence. They took out the Grizzlies, the big bad Grizzlies. Steph Curry, I believe that he's going to have an amazing series individually, but Mikal Bridges, he will be the X factor here, defending both Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, whatever Monty Williams asks him to do. Devin Booker will be the best player in this series. Hot take. The Phoenix Suns will defeat the Golden State Warriors in 6 games to advance to the NBA Finals to face the Boston Celtics. So we have the Phoenix Suns versus the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. The Suns, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Hopefully by now we have a healthy Robert Williams, Al Horford, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton. This should be an amazing series. Not the biggest series in terms of the marquee teams, although the Celtics are in a historic marquee team. I'm talking about the teams that, the Nets, the Lakers, the Bucks, the teams that had all the hype going into the season. It's going to be the Suns versus the Celtics. Defense. Defense is what's going to win this series, and it won't be the Boston Celtics defense, the top-rated defense. It will be the Phoenix Suns defense. Chris Paul and the DeAndre Ayton pick and roll. DeAndre Ayton will show us why he should be a max player this summer. The Boston Celtics will break through to the NBA Finals. They will contend for an NBA championship, like I said, but this is where their run ends. Devin Booker, Finals MVP, and the Phoenix Suns will defeat the Boston Celtics in 6 games. So we have an NBA Finals projection from me, my guy knows a guy, of the Boston Celtics coming out of the Eastern Conference to take on the Phoenix Suns. I've got the Suns to win this series in 6 games. Devin Booker, Finals MVP. Let's see how it goes. Enjoy the playoffs, everyone. Turn notifications on the channel and subscribe. Hit like on the video. Get ready for more sports predictions. This is Frenzy Sports, the sports predictions channel. I'm my guy knows a guy. See you next time.